Hello, everybody. I am Mike Tedesco, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com.
And I'm Jerome Wilen, news reporter for Wrestleview.com.
Welcome to Wrestleview News. I don't know what number this is. I probably should have looked at that right before we went on the air, but that's okay.
I think it's 8. Number 8, I think.
Number 8. Excellent. Number 8. And we're still going through the COVID-19 pandemic, but we thought a long time ago that news is going to dry up. It has not dried up at all. We have a ton of news to talk about this week. Just in this week alone, there's been a lot of stuff going on, and Jerome and I have been covering it all week. And Jerome has a whole list of stuff that we're gonna go over. So I'm gonna defer to Jerome for running the show tonight.
Okay.
Or not. And
all right.
Let's start off. Let's just dive right in, Jerome. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's go.
Yes, we do. Well, I guess we'll start off with what we talked about before we went on the air, which was Rob Gronkowski, reportedly gone from WWE.
Who would have thought that?
Exercising his option to leave the company, and that would be the reason why R-Truth is the 36th time 24/7 champion for the company.
I remember when like WWE made like a big deal about R-Truth being like having the most titles won in WWE history, and I remember like listening to some podcast, I forget who it was, and they said like, oh yeah, did you know that R-Truth is now the person with the most title reigns in WWE history? And the person goes, oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, he's still going strong at 48. He's got it, and they obviously like him holding that title. It seems to be a good title for him because they're making it more of a comedy type belt, I think, and so it fits with what they're doing with him. So yeah,
100%.
I think Rob, unfortunately, was just a failure with the company. They tried, and I just don't think it was going anywhere with him. And so I think going back to the National Football League is going to be better for him.
I would think so. You know, it was from what I understand about the Rob Gronkowski deal, he did not kind of from what I read, he didn't really fit in backstage. He was very high maintenance. That little mini segment that he did at WrestleMania with having to jump off the platform onto a bed of extras and Mojo Rawley, who's one of his dearest friends, who's not going to drop him.
Right.
Took him like they said that entire. I mean, this of course is all rumor, as some of our other podcast competition says, rumor and innuendo, but apparently that delayed the taping of WrestleMania for quite some time, maybe about an hour or so, for that little 3-minute segment.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem like a guy who gets the wrestling business. I mean, granted, he was very early on in his career.
Right.
But my immediate reaction when he came out on SmackDown in March and was, gyrating and grinding against the ring post.
He looked like such a goof.
He did, and he looked like a guy who was just like, I say it a lot about a lot of the people that perform on television today. It looks like people playing wrestler rather than being a wrestler.
Right, but you think being a football player, he would be able to take spots like that and be used to that because you get tackled on the football field. So what would be the difference, right?
Right. And here it's not full force, and there's definitely, they're protecting you really well. They're doing what they can. So I kind of figured that this is where it was going because I mean he signs. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, gave up a lot to get him on their team.
Mm-hmm.
Giving up draft picks and things of that nature just to have him on the team as he came out. I mean, and this is a guy who's been out of football for over a year. He hasn't performed since, I guess since the Super Bowl in 2019. I guess that was the Eagles, I believe. Is that no? That was the one where they won, right? The Patriots won 2019 in February 2019.
Yes.
Yeah, so he was out of football for a full year or so. And they paid a lot of money, and it's only a 1-year deal. I did not think at all that there was ever gonna be a point if they can even have like a season in the traditional sense of a season with everything going on right now, that they were going to allow him to come out of the tunnel wearing the 24/7 title, and like imagine like R-Truth appearing on, I mean, like the ultimate publicity stunt of all time, R-Truth appearing on the sidelines at a Buccaneers game and trying to roll him up or something stupid like that. There's no way.
No, it'd be fun, but I don't think they do that.
Right? I mean, you know what's amazing? Like when I think about like that battle royal from WrestleMania 2 with all of those NFL guys
Oh yeah,
that were in that match.
right.
And they were active. It wasn't even like they were retired. You had Refrigerator Perry. Was
Yep.
Bill Fralick in the thing? These guys were going in there full force while playing football. I mean, yes, it was the off season at that point. I think WrestleMania took place on April 1986. But like today, that would never happen with the multi-million-dollar contracts all these guys have. Like especially the stars. Like Refrigerator Perry would never have been allowed to do that now. So and Rob Gronkowski is the creme de la creme. He might be, one of the best to ever play his position in NFL history. So like the wrestling thing has to stop. The play acting, the play fighting has to stop. You got to concentrate on your job. I figured this was coming. I didn't, but I mean, this has got to be considered a huge fail.
It is, right? I think it's a huge failure for the company. Probably an embarrassment too, but they just don't want to admit that. It just didn't work out.
Hard to embarrass a company that does what they do.
Yeah. I mean, there's not too many football players that have been successful in pro wrestling. I think of Steve Mongo McMichael in WCW that did really well with the Four Horsemen, and then Ahmed Johnson. I mean, the two former football players that I thought had good runs in pro wrestling. But other than that, it's just you just can't do it.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Ahmed Johnson, he had a weird run. I think, I think he had potential, and they definitely pushed him at the beginning, and then something happened and halted his. I guess you could consider like college football guys, like Ron Simmons and Dwayne Johnson.
Simmons. Yeah,
but like in terms of guys that were actually in the NFL.
Yeah,
there's not many.
Goldberg wasn't Goldberg in Atlanta.
Goldberg was on the Atlanta Falcons. Yes.
Yeah, and then I think of
Roman Reigns was on the practice squad, I think.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to think. Brian, as he passed away, his name escapes me for some reason. He was in WCW, then went to WWF. I can't remember.
Not Pillman.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Not Brian Pillman.
Yes, Brian Pillman. Wasn't he a Cincinnati Bengal?
You're right. Actually, I think you're right. Yes.
Yeah, I just think I don't know why I couldn't think Brian Pillman is. I can't find my memory pills. I don't remember what I did. So forgetting.
But I mean, golly, I mean, like Rob Gronkowski, he's he was a superstar. Bill Goldberg, I think, was a good hand.
Yeah.
But needed wrestling.
Yes.
He needed to go to wrestling because there were, he got injured, his career end, he had a career-ending abdominal injury.
Yep.
And couldn't come back, and he kind of needed football to kind of keep himself financially wrestling to keep himself kind of financially solvent. Most of the guys that come in from the NFL or have a football background usually weren't stars. Like Rob Gronkowski was the first one to ever really be like a star and kind of and come in. It just didn't work out. It really didn't work out, and they kind of I don't know, saddling him with Mojo Rawley right at the beginning just made him immediately unlikable.
Yeah, it's just not a good fit.
So yeah, I think that's got to be considered. That short 2-month run with WWE has to be considered a failure, I think.
Yeah. And the other story we had with that was Kurt Angle turning down the role in the WWE for being the manager for I can't remember the guy's name now.
Matt Riddle.
Yes, Matt Riddle. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, Matt Riddle. So I guess he turned down that role apparently, and so I don't know if they're going to keep having Kurt Angle appear on a week by week basis or an as needed basis. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not under a contract as far as I know.
Angle, I think he's working on probably like a per appearance thing right now. I mean, it's very possible that what happened was when they announced he was released, that he could have been released from his performing contract
Right.
and furloughed as a producer. We don't really know the full story there because he was working as a producer.
Right, exactly. And they did furlough a number of producers.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if he was on that list. I'm just kind of guessing and speculating, but I mean that's kind of what we do. We can report the news and then we can kind of guess what the heck's the internal workings of what's going on there.
Yep,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, it's kind of surprising that he turned it down. What was in the article that he talked about why he wanted to do that?
Let me look real quick
Because
here. So
he did referee. I mean, it was kind of set up like he refereed the
right.
cage fight with Timothy Thatcher. It was almost
Mm-hmm.
kind of set up that the Olympic gold medalist is really impressed with Matt Riddle and his resolve, even though he lost the match.
Right, right.
So it was kind of like a story like that was waiting to be told.
Right, exactly. So in his interview with CBR.com, Angle said that he thinks that Matt Riddle is going to be one of the faces of WWE and has the ability to do that. He did go on to say that they offered him a job to manage Matt Riddle, but he turned it down, he being Angle, due to a few different reasons. But he said he would love to have managed him, but the time just isn't right, so I don't know what that means. I don't know if maybe he wants to spend more time with family, or maybe he's got something else.
Well, I know he has like some.
Future.
I know he has some kind of like a fitness drink or fitness health, something some kind of like protein shake or something like that he's trying to get launched. So I think he said that that's what he wants to devote his time to. I personally think that he probably, I mean, say it's kind of been forgotten about, but say what you want, and that we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Maybe he just doesn't want to have to work at the performance center.
That's true.
And leave his family because I don't think they live in Florida.
No, I think they're in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think he is still like a Pittsburgh guy through and through.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's that.
Right. All right. So WWE bans the buckle bomb.
I don't know how I feel about that. It's
AEW is still using it, but I guess WWE feels like some of their talent can't perform it right. I guess
that's a problem. Yeah. So we talked about this on Post Raw. Me and Victoria, the banning of the buckle bomb. Yeah, AEW is doing it. They're also doing pile drivers and and controversially, every now and then a chair shot to the head.
Yeah, they're still doing some crazy stuff.
That has to go. I actually I don't want to tail this off into like me criticizing AEW.
Right.
I wasn't a big fan. I did watch on Wednesday because when I recapped it the week before, I was like, God, like this show is such a breath of fresh air to watch it. I really do enjoy watching AEW, even if it's like a little wacky and there's some things that are like, okay, enough with like Marco Stunt hitting everybody with 10,000 moves and nobody selling them and this and that. I still enjoy it. It's still like a fun show to watch. Bleeding during a pandemic, that I wasn't a fan of. Cody bleeding during the Jungle Boy match, blading, at this time still bad look.
But what? Yeah, I don't know why you would need blood during a TV title I'm sorry, it should be the TV title, but the TNT title. I don't know why you wouldn't even blood during that match anyway.
I don't know, but I doubly don't know why you would want to do it during a pandemic where the last thing you want to do is start spreading anything. It's,
right.
I get it. They're all tested, and AEW has, gone on the record to talk about how rigorous their testing is.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, DDP still wouldn't let Jake Roberts in his house.
I know.
It's kind of funny. It's scary. It's so scary out there. You don't know.
It is. It is. Not. Just uncertainty for a lot of people.
But as for the buckle bomb, I mean, you're right. AEW is still using it, and I haven't heard any instances of anybody being injured from it. I haven't, honestly, all the crazy stuff they do, all the dives, yes, there was a couple things that happened in the lead up to Double or Nothing with Britt Baker sustaining the broken leg after Nyla Rose was slammed on it. That was just a freak accident.
It's a knee injury for her.
Yeah. But that was just a freak accident.
Right. And then you had Ray Phoenix, who did that one flip off the top rope and nobody caught him and he landed on his back. I was like, oh my gosh.
That was nasty. That was
Yeah,
nasty.
that made me cringe watching that.
But for the most part, they've stayed pretty injury free.
Hmm.
And Nia Jax returns at the end, at the beginning of April, and immediately she's
Yeah.
already responsible for a few injuries.
Yeah, she's just botching move after move.
And it's
I
like,
don't know.
should the buckle bomb be banned entirely, or should Nia Jax just not be allowed to do it? Yes, I get it.
Yeah,
Rollins had a few unfortunate accidents with the buckle bomb, like
yeah.
Sting. I mean, let's call a spade here. His all the years of wear and tear, 30-year career, whatever it
Hmm.
is, his neck may have been hanging on by a thread as it was.
Yep, and Seth Rollins probably just prolonged the inevitable for him.
Yeah, yeah. It just kind of kick started what was already there.
Yeah.
I mean, the one move definitely didn't cause spinal stenosis.
Mm-mm.
That's a culmination of years and years of wear and tear.
Yeah.
And the Finn Balor thing into the dasher boards, that's just it's a risky move to begin with. Not one that I wouldn't have called that spot, but everybody wants to
Yeah.
take, it's SummerSlam, you want to take risks. It's the first time they're doing the Universal title. But I mean, that was 2015 and 2016. And since then, there
Hmm.
hasn't been anything until Nia Jax, and poor Kairi Sane, all this stuff happens to her.
I know, concussion, and then all these other injuries. They just need to tell Nia,
Yeah.
you're not going to use the buckle bomb until you can figure out how to do it better. Maybe she just needs to go back and practice more. I mean, I don't know what you do.
I don't know what the deal is there, but like I don't know if it's like being related to The Rock and she has a swagger and thinks that she's completely protected or what it is, but she's had a lot of accidents and doesn't seem willing to learn.
Yeah,
But I mean, like Seth Rollins caved in John Cena's nose on an episode of Raw in 2015. Doesn't mean a knee to the face is banned.
Right. I remember that. It was pretty bloody.
That was nasty. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you ban a knee to the face. It's like if a performer screws up a move and does it completely unsafe, they get a talking to and aren't allowed to do that again, or they're taken off TV. Like I remember vividly. I didn't watch a lot of WWE CW when it was on,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember catching Kevin Thorne once. I think he was going against a jobber, and I'm sure somebody can correct me if whatever the case is. But he went for like a power bomb or something like that, and the guy didn't have a good handle on him and nearly spiked the guy in his head. After that, Kevin Thorne was off TV. Off TV. It was like, you know what? Because he had injured a few people, and it's like, you know what? We've had enough. At the end of the day, this is a performance. It's simulated fighting, but at the end of the day, it's just you're performing, and nobody. If you're a stunt person in Hollywood, and you're doing a scene with somebody, and you're doing a fight scene, and you accidentally clip them with a kick or something like that, camera stops. Everybody apologizes. You move on. But if that's a consistent thing, you're not working in that town anymore.
No.
And for Nia Jax to just keep injuring people.
Yeah, it's clumsy.
It's like at some point WWE has to think about their other performers and protect them. It's a bad look, really bad look.
It's very bad. Just can't keep injuring talent.
No, you can't because job number one is to everybody goes into the ring and leaves the same way. Yes, there are physical matches and people, obviously every match has some wear and tear, but that's all agreed upon by both participants.
Right, absolutely.
I'm sorry about that. If you're injuring somebody, that's not agreed on. That's just you not being good at your job.
Right.
Anyway, sorry to go off on a tangent.
That's all right.
I'm still fired up from Monday night over this Nia Jax thing.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see the footage, but I heard about it. So
bad. They stopped that taping for 15 minutes to deal with that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And she showed off the gash on her head too.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. What next, Jerome?
Yeah. All right. So I guess we could talk about two different things that are kind of one. WWE launching a free version of the network and then no longer offering the 30-day free trial for new subscribers.
That kind of makes sense.
Yes. I actually signed up for the free version of the network just to try it out. And their version of historic pay-per-views is all the Royal Rumbles, only the Royal Rumble events from and a few WrestleMania. So it's Royal Rumble from '88 until 2019, And then WrestleMania, going back the last few years, that's all they offer for free right now. I'm sure
Okay.
they're going to offer more, but it's not too bad. It's it gets people enticed maybe to buy the paid version. So yeah, they got Raw Talk on there, and there's episodes of replays of Raw, replays of SmackDown, and there's Table for Three, which
we don't talk about Raw Talk on this network.
No
direct competition. How dare they?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for that.
Yeah. But the one thing about the 30-day offer being taken away is that it's not gone completely. Like, one of the big things for WWE is like WrestleMania, when they offer that. There was like 400,000 people that were on the free tier.
Wow.
For WrestleMania. They had like 1.6, and I think I think they're at 1.6 or 1.7 million paid, but 2.1 million subscribers on WrestleMania weekend. How many of those people forget to cancel their subscription after? So like that's a good
many.
It's a good way to kind of like, roll in some new subscribers, if kind of cheesy, to kind of get them, oh well, you forgot to cancel, and then it just keeps racking up. But there is a lot of value in the network. I will say that. I've had it from day one in 2014. They've never offered me a free month or anything. I've never got anything for free for being a day one subscriber.
Yeah, we had it for a short period of time. I remember we did a 3-month. We did 3 months of it, and then I canceled it, and then they contacted me back and said, "Well, we want you back." And I said, "Well, I don't want to pay $9.99 a month. I got better things to do with my money." And they offered me 3 months for 99 cents. So I got 3 months for 99 cents.
Wow. What is their obsession with the $9.99 and 99 cents? And like,
I don't know.
It's like,
so we had it for another 3 months. All I paid was $1.
That's pretty good. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
But your number gets counted like a regular full subscriber.
It sure does. So they can stay at Wall Street. Hey, look, we got another subscriber. Even though
Jerome Wilen is living proof that their numbers are cooked.
Right.
Those numbers are cooked. But I've never felt like I've been ripped off, in the entire time, the 6 years that I've had it. I've never felt ripped off. There's a lot of like old content on there. They have a lot of Jim Crockett promotion television shows on there. They have Texas. They have WCCW on there. They have there's a lot of good stuff, including the old Raws and SmackDowns and stuff like that. The pay-per-views. You definitely get a lot of bang for your buck there. And on top of that, you have great series like the Undertaker Last Ride series, which I've just binge watched the first 3 episodes yesterday. It was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Some stuff's stupid, like Ride Along and whatever, but what the heck? If you're looking to kill some time, you could do worse.
Yeah. There was a period of time we did try out the Impact Plus. I tried that out for I think 2 months. And it was just, they're trying, but it's just that's all I'm going to say. Nice try, but I don't know how many subscribers are getting to that platform.
Yeah, I remember when they came out with that. I was like, really, that's what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope their 78 subscribers are very happy.
Yeah.
It's like
and there are 5,000 they get every week on Twitch or less. So
yeah, my favorite, Josh Boutwell recapping Hard to Kill in January, the Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill pay-per-view, and he put right at the beginning of his recap, and I'll never forget it because it was so. I actually laughed out loud when he wrote it. He goes, "There's never been a pay-per-view more appropriately named than this."
Yeah.
They are hard to kill. There right now, I thought years ago they were like a cockroach without its head on. That cockroach is still alive, man.
I know, it's crazy.
I'm not rooting for them to fail, but geez, they have just been an awful company for almost their entire existence.
Yeah, no identity.
No identity, and just bad move after bad move after bad move.
I know. But still, speaking of Impact,
yes.
They had that video they featured with the Slammiversary promo video they featured with released WWE stars, and they're like Drake Maverick and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson and then also EC3, and they had the Bulgarian flag with references to Rusev.
Oh yeah.
And lo and behold, what happens? Drake Maverick gets re-signed with WWE.
Well, I will say this, and this wouldn't be out of the. That's Liliana in the background. Hi, Bubby. I would not be surprised. Oh, first, the Drake Maverick thing was recorded a week ago.
Okay.
So, but I wouldn't put it past me, or I wouldn't put it past Impact to have made up that video to try to just generate some interest in their pay-per-view. I had no idea. So I completely forgot Slammiversary was in July.
Yeah, I did too.
And I think they just put a bunch of their old superstars and use their footage, knowing that they're on the free agent market, just
Right.
to drum up some interest. And if you're having to use EC3,
Yeah,
and Drake Maverick to drum up interest in your pay-per-view,
I know.
there's a deeper problem.
Yeah, I know. Then EC3 comes out just today or yesterday with his teaser video, where he did the same type of video, but he put himself in it. So he might be teasing a return to Impact, and I thought he should have stayed there anyway and not left, because obviously for him the grass isn't greener on the other side.
No, it isn't. And sometimes, it's better to be a big fish in a small pond than in the big pond,
Right.
And that was a big pond he was in. And
with WWE didn't know what to do with him.
He's got a good look, but and probably in the late 80s and early 90s, he probably would have been a superstar. He would have been an absolute superstar. But now you can't come into, even WWE, say what you want about them and their product, you cannot come into that company with almost no working ability.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Even though he'd been there before as Derek Bateman.
And look how well that turned out. I remember that clearly.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not trying to jump around, but since we are talking about early 90s or late 90s, Todd Pettengill pops up again doing a promo for NXT TakeOver in Your House, which will be on Sunday.
Who was I talking to the other day about Todd Pettengill? And this is before I knew anything that he was doing any kind of promo work with them. I was talking with somebody about how I always kind of despise Todd Pettengill. Actually, I think last time we were on here talking about In Your House coming back, I said how much I despise Todd Pettengill.
Well, he's back, and I think he might be, I wonder if he'll show up at the pay-per-view or at the event on Sunday. Wouldn't surprise me.
I would love to see him come out and give away a house.
Yeah.
Him and Stephanie Wyand come out and give away a house.
That's funny.
That didn't turn out too well. I think they wound up giving it to when they did that at the first In Your House. They gave it to an 11-year-old. And that kid flipped the house.
Yeah.
He flipped the house pretty good. Made a good profit on it.
Yeah.
He got it for nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I would do the same, maybe.
I would too. It's like, well, number one, I think the house was in I forget where it was. I think it was in Ohio or something like that. And the kid lived in Florida or it was reversed. So maybe I'm reversing. He lived in Ohio and the house is in Florida. It's like, I'm not relocating. So let's sell that house and pay off our house over here.
Yeah.
I'm in the market for a house, please.
Yeah. So one of the things I on the list I sent you that I didn't put on there was I think we should talk about that I'm looking at my other list is WWE and AEW possibly becoming closer to having fans at their television tapings in Florida. It looks like that's likely to happen hopefully soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Because at this point it's like, I think they should play it safe. They should do everything that they're supposed to do with the social distancing, and I'm sure there are ways to do it. I'm sure that there's been a lot of people trying to figure out, ways to get that done. But
right.
It's like I just worry about the safety, and I'm just kind of curious. I'm curious to see how many people are going to come out to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if they space the chairs 6 feet apart, and then if they sit in the maybe if they open it up to a different area, depending on, I guess the Performance Center, they could easily space those chairs 6 feet apart. But if they do Daly's Place, for AEW, they probably have to do it on, fans on the floor, and then just space them 6 feet apart.
Right. Yeah, I mean the Daily's Place saying, they have I believe they have like production crew, family members in the crowd and stuff like that.
Yes, they do, which it makes it more lively than WWE.
Right, and those people will listen.
Yes,
and do what they're asked. But
right.
You get a couple rowdy people out there, and they're excited about wrestling, and you're going to need some ushers that are, or people in the stands that are strictly enforcing it.
Yeah, right.
So
exactly.
Kind of curious to see. I'm curious to see what happens and how they pull that off, if they even go for it. Because I mean, it's one thing like you're allowed to, doesn't mean that they have to.
Exactly. Right. I'm sure they're anxious to get back into doing that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be?
Absolutely.
Yep. And let's see. It looks like AEW is going to pull a Impact and the WWE and do a 2-night event in July, Fyter Fest on TNT.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
I think that's a great idea, actually. I kind of like the idea because they gave Fyter Fest away for free last year on the BR app.
Right.
And here it's like, let's just bypass that altogether. And, because they have their pay-per-views kind of quarterly, which I think is a great idea. And
yes,
look at how much interest, even during a pandemic, was surrounding Double or Nothing. And I don't know if it had much to do with Mike Tyson or whether it was, or what the deal was there. But there was a great amount of interest, and they were very proud of their numbers. I know that.
Yeah.
And
I wonder.
Tony Khan definitely made a point to mention that.
Yeah, he did. I saw that. So I wonder, are they going to do? I wonder if they're going to do commercials in between the matches, or have commercials.
I would imagine so. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be like kind of like that rock and wrestling Bash at the Beach thing that they did, which I mean that worked out well. It was definitely a success for them, and it's always good to do themed shows every now and then. Like I remember when Raw would do like Raw Roulette, and those would be like just tremendous events. Just like specialty events, like or like the guest host of Raw until that got watered down. Like wrestling kind of like lives on like these specials sometimes. And it's not a bad idea to do that.
No, it worked for the NWA and WCW with the Clash of Champions on TBS. Those were really successful for them. Great
point. And every title is going to be on the line at these events. So I'm excited for it, actually.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
July 1st and July 8th. Should be good.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun night of wrestling on TNT.
Yeah.
Yep, and continuing with AEW, Arn Anderson signing a multi-year deal with AEW.
Yeah,
that's good for him.
I'm surprised that he hadn't already signed it, and I think Arn's done a great job in his run. Really great job.
Yeah,
great promo. Yeah. I mean, you look at that sit-down interview with him and Jake Roberts.
Yes,
that's like, when they start, using the Performance Center again for, the purpose it's actually supposed to be used for, training people.
Right.
They should be, even though it's AEW, they should get that video and everybody should have to watch it.
Yeah.
It was that good. The Tully Blanchard thing. Look at the legends that they have, and they're using them correctly. That to me is like such a big thing, and it's such an easy thing to do. You have this dearth of talent out there, and yes, sorry Father Time caught up with them, they got old, but they still have something to offer. More than just the one night, let's have them take someone's finisher and just, make them seem like they were such losers back in the day.
Yeah, Jake Roberts has so much to offer. It's great what he's doing with Lance Archer and Arn Anderson. Teaming him up with Cody's good. Arn's he's a good talker. I thought with the Four Horsemen, I thought that Ric Flair, J.J. Dillon were, they're good promos, but Arn was always a really good promo because he made that group's sound believable.
That's the key. Yes, he made him sound very believable. And look at on the other end of the Four Horsemen too. Tully was great.
Oh yeah,
Tully, and that my God, Jerome, that promo I watched him do with Sean Spears.
Yes, I thought Barry Windham. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw that glove.
Yeah, but man, that promo was intense and so believable.
Yes, I thought it was great.
Like sometimes, like I've heard thousands of promos since I've been recapping, and yeah, there's I've obviously recapped a lot of great stuff. There's I'm not gonna sit here and say that I've recapped 12 years of crap. You know, there have been some great things, but there's some things where it's like I just don't believe this. I don't believe that this person would say this or talk like this or whatever. The content, like that was like, it felt like it was straight from the heart. I mean, like that's that again, and that's the advantage of using an older talent to pass along that knowledge and those techniques that should still be alive in wrestling today. And they got away from all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And Arn is going to play a big role in that. He's adding a lot, not just to Cody, but I'm sure behind the scenes he's doing a lot to add to a lot of the talent there.
Yeah, I think totally too.
Yeah, totally for sure.
And Jake Roberts for sure too.
Jake Roberts, Jake kind of reminds me of, I don't want to get into like other sports and all that stuff, but like Babe Ruth wanted so desperately at the end of his career to be a manager and just pass on what he learned, and no one ever gave him an opportunity. Jake, all he wanted to do was be on creative and just work on that aspect of wrestling. Because of his problems, he was on creative with WWF in 1996, but with all of his problems, he wound up blowing his opportunity. Yeah. And since then, he really hasn't had a chance, and here's his chance.
Yep, and he's doing good with it, I think.
24 years later.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing. Kind of amazing.
Yep, it's great.
And a really great comeback story for that guy.
I agree. It's a wonderful comeback story for him.
Yeah.
And hopefully he can stay clean and continue doing what he's doing. So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And then I guess keeping on with AEW, they postponed the Newark shows and the Rochester, New York shows for later on.
I think we saw that coming.
Yeah. You really can't do the Blood and Guts was the Newark show. You really can't do that without having a viable crowd, because that's the big match for them.
Right, and at the time they wanted to do it, the social distancing was 10 people, and you need more than that just in one building to do in one place setting to do Blood and Guts, and it would just feel cheap. It would feel so cheap if they did it that way, and I commend them, because that's a risk. I mean, because AEW, to me, it seems like they book for the long term rather than the short term.
Yes.
Like where things change weekly, or now bi-weekly because they tape every 2 weeks with WWE. Right. AEW has like, this guy's got to win here because we have this idea for the future, and we got to keep building towards that. So I'm sure getting rid of Blood and Guts upset their plans quite a bit. But I commend them for doing that. Yeah,
well, hopefully they'll do it on February 24th, 2021. Right. They're scheduled to be at the Prudential Center, and then they're going to be at the I think it's the Blue Cross Arena, is it what it's called, in Rochester, New York. They're going to do that in November. So yeah.
Well, hopefully they will be able to, because there's no guarantee yet, but that's based on current projections, those seem to be a good time to pick.
Yes. All right, and then going on my list here, Jinder Mahal underwent some knee surgery, and we don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah, we know no details about the knee injury, the surgery, or the timetable. But it's on but I was when I wrote the story up, I went back and looked at the post that he had originally put up for his knee surgery back in June of 2019. Same leg, so might be an issue, long-standing issue there. I feel I feel for him. It's like I know a lot of people. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but
right. So when he came back that one night on Raw, didn't that sound like maybe a babyface promo he was cutting, or am I?
It did. It did. Yeah. I do remember that. But it was so quick. It was over so quickly that I just that was in April, and now he's gone again. I know he did some main event tapings and stuff like that, but I don't know who watches that.
Who? What show? What was that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's a website around.
205 Live, huh?
Yeah, I know, but I like if 205 Live is so unknown, like main event is like, gosh, doesn't even exist.
Yeah, I know. And some good news for former NWA U.S. Tag Team Champion Bobby Fulton being cancer-free. It's exciting for him.
That's great. That's in days where we kind of need good news and stuff like that. It's good to hear Bobby Fulton's doing all right.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I guess looking at some other stuff, Edge is going to be in a movie.
Woohoo!
Yeah, yee-hee, with Kelsey Grammer.
I love Kelsey Grammer. I'm a huge Frasier fan, so
yeah, he's funny. He's a funny guy.
I was pretty happy to hear that.
Yeah, and I guess speaking of Edge, he's going to be on Monday Night Raw with Christian doing the Peep Show.
That should be pretty good.
Yeah, it should be an entertaining segment.
I dig it.
Yep, and then I guess the Raw ratings and SmackDown ratings. I guess what's to talk about? They're the same, really.
Man, oh man. I mean, they kind of came back last week. Not Raw, but SmackDown, AEW, and NXT. But with all the turmoil going on in the world right now, and a lot of things, a lot of people are watching news right now, and I can't blame them.
Right.
But all viewership for all wrestling was significantly down this week. It's significant. Yep. And I really thought that AEW and NXT had kind of turned the corner. They AEW had like its best rating in a long time the week before, and NXT was up like they were up big. They went from like 596 to 730 or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder if I remember when AEW debuted that one in October. That one show they did 1.2 million viewership. I don't know if they're ever going to hit that again or not.
Not now, but I think as they keep going on, if they keep doing things right, and they get crowds back, in wrestling, and the world kind of settles down a little bit, and people start watching other shows, there's a chance, because I mean, it's hard to kind of build an audience, because I really do feel like wrestling is a dying niche genre right now.
Yeah.
It feels like they're it's on the downswing. Like they've gone through peaks and valleys through the years, but I almost think that exposing the business too much and taking away the illusion, really kind of at the end of the day, it really kind of hurts them. Like like I love the Undertaker, the Last Ride documentary, and I'm not saying that he should be acting like he's a dead guy, but at the same time, I kind of liked him being a myth, or even like the performer being like just like this legend, this locker room leader that everybody loved and revered and respected, and see him like goofing around and playing cards and doubting himself. It's like do we need to like expose everything?
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite things to watch on Netflix was Magic's Greatest Secrets Finally Revealed. Or even like watching Penn and Teller, where they show you how the trick is done, and then they do it a different way, and you're like, how did they do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like I like being, I kind of like the illusion sometimes, and just leave it alone. I'm not saying it's real to me or anything like that, but I don't know. I think that exposing the business a little too much overall hurts it.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. And also, pre-tape promos and everybody working the same style and no different styles. That's also hurt them too. It's like you watch one match, you've seen every match for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I know. There's too many scripted promos. I don't know if AEW does scripted promos.
They don't.
Bullet points, I think, is what they use, don't they?
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like I'd rather watch I remember I was recapping once, covering for Josh, and Nyla Rose did a promo.
Mm-hmm.
And was it a good promo? Nah, it was okay. Nothing great, nothing to write home about, not even all that memorable. But I would rather watch Nyla Rose go out there and fumble up a promo that she's trying to do on her own than watch somebody deliver 20 minutes of scripted garbage that at the end of it, I'm like, no one talks like that.
Right.
No one. I'd rather that all day long. Like the Britt Baker thing when she was in the wheelchair 2 weeks ago when I was covering that. That was funny stuff. And
that stuff is funny. Did you see Wednesday night's show?
I did. Yes. With the
that tractor, wherever she was in that tractor thing and she was in the wheelchair, and I mean that stuff's funny. And then where she's doing her training and
Right. And it's like
that stuff is really entertaining. That
right.
stuff's funny.
And that's the creativity of the performer. And that's kind of like, when wrestling was at its hottest, it was like all these performers kind of, using their creativity to get things over. It was like, all the characters were kind of just like the person themselves amped up.
Yeah.
Or it was like their own ideas and like, I'm going to add this to my character tonight and see how it goes and whatever.
Yeah. No, Britt's funny. I mean, she's a great promo. I mean, I don't really care much for her stuff in the ring, but as far as a promo goes, she's hilarious. I mean, she's got her niche with that.
Yeah, I was really quite pleased to see how well she did with that. So
yeah, she's a great heel. I like her as a heel. I hope they keep her that way.
Yeah, me too. For now, at least.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I dig the AEW product. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. Me too.
So how we looking here, Jerome? Is that all the news for the week?
That's really all the news for the week.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll have more news coming up because this week, tomorrow, I hope you'll all tune in to Backlash. I'm not Backlash. NXT Takeover in Your House. I will be recapping that tomorrow, and predictions are up with Doug Lackey and Victoria, my wife of the Wrestleview Post Raw show. They did the predictions for NXT Takeover. So that will be that's all up tomorrow. Hope you'll check that out. No Wrestleview Live after that, but we will return Wrestleview Live next Sunday for Backlash. We'll also be covering that. So I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of news coming up. All that stuff's going on. So it should be good. We'll have more stuff to talk about next week, hopefully, Jerome. And on that note, we're gonna take off. Have a great week, everybody. I'm Mike Tedesco.
And Jerome Wilen.
Have a good one, everybody. Take care.
Bye.